So, where did this all start from? A lot of people will be asking that question like, Abram, what got you started on this path of like, oh, I want to become famous. What got you there? And you know, the the best way to explain it would be that I definitely had basically a premonition of it. It happened before it happened. You know what I mean? But it was definitely in a different way. And I think they call it a sickness because they believe that it won't come true. That's why they're like schizophrenics are delusional and they have grandiose delusions and they have bizarre delusions and non bizarre delusions. So, unfortunately for me, it can't be seen as a premonition. Like they see it as a delusion. And how do I feel about that? I feel very distraught about it. Like, come on, man. What do you mean that it's a freaking delusion? Like, it can't be a delusion. But it's something that is very possible. Like, for example, like, it's not like I had, let's say, a vision of being in heaven and right now we're in heaven right now. It's not something like that. It's something that's very real. Like people can become famous, and the way that it happened, it was very convincing. You know what I mean? Like if think about royalty, for example. All right, think about how they're surrounded by officers and guardsmen, and all these people are protecting them. And they're in this house and they're just living their life as best as possible with so many people looking in on them. And you just think like, what would happen if they heard everything that went on around them? And just imagine it. Just think for a second. Like, what if you heard everything that was going around you, that was going on around you, like in your neighbor's house? So think about that. Like, what if you heard what was going on in your neighbor's house? And that's what I was essentially hearing. I was hearing people going about their lives. They weren't they weren't aimed towards me per se. Like it felt like they were because I could hear them, but they were still going on with their lives. And it was kind of distorted to the point where it's just like, oh, we are talking about Abram, but we're not making it that obvious. So there was different stages in the there was different stages in the sounds. So at first, let's see if I can remember. At first, it was like it was voices coming down from the heavens. Okay, so just imagine voices coming down from the heavens, and it's just like, okay, I was walking. I don't know how to explain it. It's very hard to explain. So I'm walking through New Brunswick, right? And then all of a sudden I start hearing voices. It comes very abrupt. Like it was a one day thing. Like one day I'm going to change your life. And this all plays a really big part in it because it's like, okay, one day you start hearing voices and it's like, how does that change your life? It changes it drastically. Like one day you don't hear voices and the next day you do. And how does that work out for you? It doesn't work out too well. You know what I mean? Like you don't freak out about it. Like you get used to it very quickly. You adjust to it. You're just like, all right, I'm hearing voices. All right, this is pretty weird. And these voices are saying like, hey, welcome back. You know what I mean? And they're laughing a little bit and you just hear these voices, and I'm trying to describe them to you right now, and it's very hard to describe them. But it's kind of like they're having a conversation. They're just having many conversations in the universe. You know what I mean? Like, and you can hear them. So you're in New Brunswick, and New Brunswick is a very social spots. So there's a lot of people. So it's not like you can hear what's going on in the pizzeria. Like the pizzeria people are like, one pizza coming up. Do you got that pizza ready? Yeah, sure. It wasn't like that. It was more like the voices were aware of you. Like these voices were like, oh, there's Abram. Oh, there he is. He's finally back. And that's what was killing me because I was like, they're like, welcome back, welcome back. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've been here before. This happened before. So hearing these voices is a very, it's like, I have to describe it as painful. It's kind of like, and I also have to describe it as getting your powers for the first time. You know what I mean? That's the best way I can explain it. That's why I am so adamant about calling them powers, because the way people describe them doesn't give it enough matter in the situation. You know what I mean? When you try to talk to a person and you're just like you're hearing voices, they try to make it a very normal thing that happens. They're just like, oh, you hear voices, huh? Those voices aren't real. Just try not to listen to them. If you hear voices, I'll give you more medication, and until you stop hearing voices. And you're just like, okay, fine. That's how it is. If they were to explain it like, all right, your powers are going a little bit out of control, we're going to need to control it a little bit. You're not supposed to be hearing voices. The voices are a side effect of your powers coming into play, and we need to make sure that it stays under control. And if you were to explain that to me, maybe I would have been more cooperative, and maybe people would start treating people with mental disabilities a little bit differently. But as you can see, the way that we're treated is a very weird thing. So not only are we put to the side, like we're brought to the side, they take us to the hospital and they're like, you know what, you're going through a mental crisis and we need to help you right now. And we're going to admit you into the hospital. So you get admitted into the hospital. And then they're like, okay, you either take this pill or you take a shot. The pill, you're going to have to stay here for 2 weeks. If you take the shot, we'll let you leave within like 5 days. You don't have to stay for too long. As long as you take your medication, you'll be fine. And you're just like, okay. And then boom, they throw you back into society after having this major change in your life. You know what I mean? Like this change is absolutely major. And they're just trying to play it off as, okay, you're just hearing voices. That's it. You're just hearing voices. It's just a mental disability. Try to go back to work. Try to get back on track in life. We'll see. And if you have to come back to the hospital, we'll change up what we're doing and we'll try to help you out as best as we can. But you should be able to go back to life. But that's the thing. You are not able to go back to life. And for those people that are not able to go back to life, I feel like their powers are a little bit stronger than the rest of us. There's people that are able to go to the hospital and they're able to take the medication and they're perfectly fine after that. Like there's nothing wrong with them. They're like, okay, I could deal with this. Okay, I had a mental breakdown and now I need to take this medication and I'll be good for the rest of my life, correct? And the doctor's like, yes, that's correct. That's all you need to do. But there are some people that this mental break is so significant that they can't get back on track. And then they get qualified as a disabled person. Now, as a disabled person, you get certain things. You get paid monthly for your disability, and you can choose to work or not to work. And depending on your case, sometimes you can work, You can only work a certain amount of time. You can work part time, and part time you can make about $1,600 a month. And after making $1,600 a month, you can't make any more. Or if you do start making that more than that, they take away your disability. And it's very hard to work as a disabled person because you have to be okay with not going to work and not being a part of society in that way. Now, for me, I was lucky. I get paid close to $1,200 a month, so it's doable. So I can actually live off of it in a way. I still need a lot of help, of course. I can go homeless at any point in time. Yes, that is very true. But I can I can still buy things that I need. I can still travel a little bit. I can still hang out with my friends, but it's like you're getting paid for having something. And it's like, what do you have? What are you nurturing? What are they paying you for? And it's like they're paying you for having powers. Not many people can function correctly with those powers. And this is just a starting point because you can do anything with those powers. You can make money with those powers. And how can you make money? Well, think about it. You don't have to work for the rest of your life. So what do you have to focus on? Socializing. So you get to socialize with people, minimally socialize with people because you have this mental disability. But now that we have technology, now you're able to expand on that sociability because with with schizophrenia, it's very hard to socialize. You need a lot of breaks, and people, typically my friends, don't understand that. And it's just worked out that way. We haven't really talked about it. Like, I haven't told May, for example, I haven't said, hey, May, I get mentally exhausted when I hang out with people, so I need time to recharge. And she understands that, but she doesn't abide by it. Like, she still breaks those rules. You know what I mean? Like, if she needs me, she's going to call me and she's going to talk to me for hours. And I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm very tired. And then out of nowhere, you're going to see that loss of power. You know what I mean? There's going to be a blackout at one point in time, and you're going to be very angry at me. So that's exactly what happened. Like, I wasn't able to keep up with the demand that she was asking for, and then she got mad at me because she was like, "You're not there for me," and I'm like, "Bro, I can't keep up." Like, being disabled, people think that you have a lot of time, and especially with this type of disability, you know what I mean? Like, this type of disability that I have is not a physical one. It's a mental one. When you have a mental disability, there are things that are not seen that these people take advantage of. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, well, you look perfectly fine, so let's go out for today. Let's go out for this day. Let's go out for this day. And they don't understand that by not working and feeling like you have to go to these places with these people, it's very hard. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that right. People don't think that having a disability or not working is very easy. They're like, well, you're just being a bum. It's like, you're not being a bum. You have to, every time somebody asks you to do something, you feel obligated to do it. If you start to say no, they might think that there's something wrong with you and they might send you to the hospital. So you technically have to say yes to everything that everybody says. And it's very, very hard. So where was I going with this? Powers. So if we start explaining it as powers, I think that we will get a much different viewpoint on what we're trying to say. Like, basically we do get treated like mutants. Think about it. Think about it. Just think about it for a little bit. What do we do with people with mental disabilities? Mental, I forgot, I'm thinking of another word to call it, but I can't think of anything. But mental disabilities. What do we do with them? How do we treat them? Just think about it for a little bit, and then you'll start to see, like, it's like in the movies. It's just like in the movies. Like this person hears stuff and they see stuff, and what does that mean exactly? And this person has mood swings and they can't work because of those mood swings. That sounds ridiculous. What do you mean you have mood swings? Girls have mood swings all the time. They get pissed off when they're on their period, but they can still work. They can still go to school. So what do you mean this person has mood swings and they can't work? They're it's called bipolar. There's polar opposites of what they're supposed to be. Like they get truly angry, then they get truly sad, then they get happy for only a little bit, and then you have depression, and this person is sad for a very, very long time, and then you're just like, what do you mean sad for a long time? What do you mean they're so sad that they can't even function correctly? That doesn't make sense. Powers. They have powers. Their powers are out of whack. Their bodies aren't, their mind is chemically unable to keep up with everybody else's. Their mind has been altered in a way that makes them unable to do certain things that other people are able to do. And you have to pay them for it. And it's like, wait. We're paying them? It's like, yeah, we have to pay them for it. It's like, what do you mean we have to pay these people for being sick? They need some way to live because they cannot work. It's very interesting. Just think about it for a little bit, you know?